Alright guys, today we'll be continuing this series of reading the Bible for an hour a day. So today will be part 2 of this series, and we'll be starting off from chapter 13 from the book of Genesis in the Bible. So hopefully you guys enjoy. If you do like content and videos like this, please don't mind leaving a like and subscribe down below so you can help me out and we can build a bigger following and have more people watching these videos and more people with similar interests as you, so you can have more friends. Thank you guys so much, and I'll give you some summaries of each chapter in about the next couple of seconds. So sit down, relax, and enjoy the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and enjoy. In chapter 13 of Genesis, Lot and Abraham are forced out of Egypt, so they travel to Canaan, a place near Egypt, and basically go from place to place, living in different places. But Abraham and Lot have a lot of assets and a lot of animals, people, and riches like gold and silver. So they both fall out because of their servants who get mad at each other. So they decide to separate from one another and live basically from one another. In chapter 14, there is a war going on near where Lot lives. While Lot and Abraham are living alone, during this war, one of the kings, takes Lot's possessions, everything he had, all the people, all the animals, all the slaves, everything. When someone tells this, what happened, to Abraham, Abraham gets quite furious and hunts down these men and finally pushes them all the way back to a faraway place and takes all the possessions that was stolen from Lot and even more. Then Abraham goes back to Lot and gives his possessions back. In chapter 15, Abraham has a vision, and during this vision, God tells him to sacrifice some animals at the altar. When Abraham does this, God tells him, foreshadowing the events that will happen to the Israelites in Egypt, which is their enslavement. God tells this to Abraham, and then God secures the covenant to Abraham, saying that he will have as much descendants as the stars in the sky, and saying that the land that he currently has, which is very, very big, will be owned by his descendants. And the final thing in the covenant is that Abraham and his descendants will be blessed by God. In chapter 16, Hagar, which is the slave of Sarah, who is Abraham's wife, becomes pregnant by Abraham. This is because Sarah, Abraham's wife, suggested Abraham to impregnate Hagar because Hagar was the only person who could have a baby, unlike Sarah, because Sarah was too old. So later, Hagar and Abraham, they have a baby who is then called Ishmael. However, after this birth, the slave Hagar absolutely despises Sarah and runs away because Sarah has beaten and treated her unfairly. However, an angel comes to tell Hagar to go back and telling her that Ishmael will have all the descendants in the world, as much as the stars in the sky. In chapter 17, the physical part of the covenant is shown. God tells Abraham that in order to keep this covenant, him and his future descendants have to keep this one promise, that they will circumcise every male in the household and who are related to them, So any boy older than 8 days old will have to be circumcised for this covenant to be valid. So Abraham circumcises himself, who's about 9 years old, and his son Ishmael, who's about 13. So God then keeps a covenant saying that Abraham and his wife Sarah, not his slave Hagar, Sarah, will have a child who will be named Isaac. Then Abraham is really confused because Sarah is very old and he is very old. But God reassures him, saying that he will have Isaac in about a year's time. So Abraham is very happy. In chapter 18, there are these 3 men that appear in front of Abraham's house. Abraham willingly lets the 3 men stay, and Abraham prepares a nice, beautiful meal for all 3 of them. Then, when they finish eating, the men tell Abraham that him and his wife will have a child in the next 9 months. Sarah hears this and laughs at it, as she thinks it's not possible because she is very old. However, Abraham questions her why she laughed, and he doesn't really feel happy with that. But Sarah feels a bit guilty and knows that God will give her a child. In chapter 19, Lot is rescued from Sodom by the 2 angels, which he takes his 2 daughters and his wife from there before it is destroyed by God because the people are doing horrendous acts of evil. The angels tell all of them to not look behind. However, Lot's wife looks behind and is instantly turned into a pillar of salt and never to be heard of again. Lot goes to a fellow village or town near Sodom, and when he does this, Sodom is officially destroyed by burning sulfur by God, and it is all gone. So now there are no people around this area where Lot and his 2 daughters are living. So the 2 daughters have this evil plan of trying to impregnate themselves by the father. So they get the father drunk, Lot drunk, and basically get themselves impregnated. In chapter 20, Abraham and his wife Sarah go to this kingdom, this place, where Abraham tells the king that his wife Sarah is really his sister. So when the king is in bed with Abraham's wife, God comes and tells the king that he shall not do this or there will be a big punishment. So the king tells God what happened, and God tells him the same thing. So if he does sleep with Abraham's wife, there will be consequences. So the next day, the king is very terrified and tells his people, and they let Abraham and his wife go because they're really scared. However, God still punishes all of this kingdom by making all the women in this palace not to be able to have any children. However, Sarah, the wife of Abraham, she is blessed by God and can now have children.